Students I coach who are using AI to generate their cards are actually studying more and scoring less. That sounds backwards, but I've seen it again and again. They're generating hundreds of cards, reviewing for hours, feeling more productive than ever, and their scores aren't moving. The reason is something I call the learning illusion, and it's the most dangerous trap in modern studying because you cannot feel it happening. Today, I'm going to show you the 3 ways AI cards create this illusion and exactly how to fix it, even if you've already built your entire deck with AI. So what is the learning illusion? It's when you feel like you're learning. You're doing all the right things, making cards, reviewing them, spending hours studying, but underneath the surface, almost none of it is sticking. And the worst part is, you have no way to tell until test day. The learning illusion is the gap between feeling productive and actually learning. AI flashcards are the single biggest creator of this illusion right now because they make the process of making cards effortless. And effortless is exactly the problem. Before ChatGPT, making a flashcard was hard. You had to read the material, struggle to understand it, figure out what to put on the front, figure out how to phrase it. That struggle, that cognitive effort was the learning. The card was just a byproduct of all of that effort. AI removes the struggle, it removes the effort, and in doing so, it removes the learning. In my experience, up to 50% of the questions students get wrong aren't because they don't know the material. They're because they can't use the material when the question asks it in a way that they haven't seen it before. AI cards make this problem dramatically worse because they train you to recognize information, not to think about it. The struggle of making the card is the learning. The card itself is just the byproduct. So if you've been studying for weeks, making cards, doing reviews, putting in the hours, and your score hasn't moved, I want you to know that there's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with your intelligence. You might just be caught in the learning illusion. And the good news is that it's completely fixable. Now, there are 3 specific ways that AI flashcards create this illusion. Be sure to stick around for the 3rd one because it's the one that can completely bury you. And the whole time it's happening, it feels like you're making progress. And I'll tell you about a student of mine whose AI cards looked perfect. She reviewed them, felt confident, and then completely froze on the exact same topics on her test. Let's start with the most fundamental mistake. Mistake number 1 is AI skips the learning process. The first and most important thing you need to understand is this. When you ask ChatGPT to make your flashcards, you are outsourcing the exact part of studying that makes you learn. Think about what actually happens when you make a flashcard yourself. You read the section in your textbook or first aid. You encounter a concept. You struggle with it. Maybe you don't fully understand it. You have to figure out how to phrase a question on the front that actually tests the right thing. You have to figure out how to explain the answer on the back in a way that makes sense to you. That whole process, the reading, the struggling, the figuring out, that is the studying. The card is just a record of the learning you already did. Now think about what happens when you ask ChatGPT to make your cards. You type in, make me 20 flashcards on heart failure. 30 seconds later, you have 20 cards. They look great. They're well organized. They're factually accurate. And you learned absolutely nothing in those 30 seconds. You skipped the entire process. Let's make an analogy. What if you copied someone else's notes entirely? The notes looked identical to what you'd write yourself, but the person who wrote them learned while writing. You learned nothing while copying. The notes are the same. The learning is completely different. In other words, you're not saving time, you're reducing the time that was supposed to make you learn. Let's make this concrete. When I make an Anki card, and I've been doing Anki every day since 2009, here's what actually happens. I read the material. I try to understand the pathophysiology myself. I ask myself, okay, can I explain this simply? Can I explain why this makes sense? And then I phrase a question that forces me to think through the concept, not just recall a fact. That process takes time. It takes effort. And that time and effort is not wasted because it is the studying. The card is just the thing that makes sure I don't forget what I already learned. When AI does this for you, you get the card without the understanding. You get the output without the input. And then you sit down to review and you think that you're learning, but you're actually just reading someone else's explanation for the first time, which is a completely different cognitive activity than reconstructing your own understanding. So if making your cards takes less than a minute each, you're probably not thinking very hard. Remember, the thinking is the point. There's a concept called the Feynman technique. Richard Feynman, the physicist, said that the highest level of understanding is when you can explain something simply enough for an intelligent 10-year-old to understand it. Making a good flashcard is essentially the Feynman technique. You're forcing yourself to distill a concept into its simplest, clearest form. In fact, when I coach students, I actually use their flashcards as a means of assessing how well they actually understand something. When AI does this for you, you never go through that distillation process that builds understanding. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Does this mean that AI is totally useless for studying? The answer is no. Later in this video, I'll show you exactly how to use AI the right way because it is one of the most powerful tools for learning that has come out in the last 100 years. It's just not the way that most people are using it. So that's the first mistake, outsourcing the thinking. The second mistake is more subtle, and it's the one that tricks even really smart students. If you want to learn even more valuable strategies for how you can improve your score in the shortest period of time, be sure to click and join our 14-step free program where we can teach you some of the most valuable things from our paid program completely for free, sent to your inbox. The second mistake is that AI-generated flashcards almost always give away the most important information in the question itself. And most students have no idea this is happening because the cards look perfectly fine. I was working with a student who'd been using AI to help generate her Anki cards. She could review them and get them right. She felt super confident. Then she'd take a practice test on the exact same topics and completely freeze. She knew cardiac physiology. She could explain aortic stenosis. She had all the cards, but when the question gave her a specific finding, like a pressure gradient across a valve, she couldn't interpret it. She knew what aortic stenosis was, but she couldn't do anything with a specific clinical finding. When I looked at her cards, the problem was obvious. The AI had generated cards like, explain the hemodynamic significance of a high pressure gradient across the aortic valve in aortic stenosis. The problem is that that card had already told you 3 things. It's about hemodynamics, it involves a high gradient, and it's aortic stenosis. Those are the things that she was actually tested on later, not the things that she needed to see in the front of her card that were just given away. Her cards were training her to read explanations, not to think through problems. And on test day, nobody hands you the diagnosis in the question. Another student had made a card that said, use the pathophysiology to explain why some patients develop acute thrombotic complications. The card literally tells you that it causes thrombotic complications. But the issue is that you have to know this condition, which I think was nephrotic syndrome or something like that. That condition causes thrombosis. That fact is actually the most important thing to recall. The card was giving away the key fact in the question. A better card would have been something like this: nephrotic syndrome. Use the pathophysiology to explain what hematologic complications can occur and why. Now you actually have to recall that thrombosis is a complication, which is the hard part. That's the part that's actually going to be tested on your exams. If the question is telling you the thing you need to recall, the card isn't testing you. It's just asking you to read. So why is this particularly problematic for AI? ChatGPT is optimized to be helpful and clear. When it generates a flashcard, it wants the question to be understandable. So it adds context, it specifies, it clarifies. And every piece of context it adds is a piece of the answer it's giving away that it's not testing you on actively later. This is the opposite of what a good card does. A good card is deliberately vague on the front. Not too vague where you have no idea what it's asking, but vague enough that it forces your brain to fill in the gaps. AI is filling in the gaps for you. Let's look at some side-by-side comparisons. In aortic stenosis, explain why a high pressure gradient across the aortic valve leads to left ventricular hypertrophy and eventually heart failure. This card has already told you it's aortic stenosis, the gradient is high, it causes LVH, and it causes heart failure. What's left to recall? Basically nothing. At least nothing that's going to be super relevant that's going to be tested on your exam. You're just rephrasing what the question already told you. A better card would be testing you on the thing that you actually need to know in the way that you're going to need to use it. A catheterization shows a 50mm gradient across the aortic valve. What is the significance? What complications would you expect over time? Now you have to figure it out. It's told you that it's the aortic valve, but it hasn't told you, is the gradient bad, right? Is it severe? Is it not severe? And then what happens downstream? In other words, it's not telling you that it's giving you LVH. It's not telling you that it's giving you heart failure. That's a card that's going to build your understanding at a much deeper level. A good card is deliberately hard on the front. AI makes cards that are deliberately easy on the front. That's the entire problem. When you look at your AI-generated cards, cover the front and ask, does this question give me information that I should be recalling myself? If the answer is yes, rewrite the front to remove that information. Better yet, what I find is the most valuable thing is to actually write the front yourself. AI can actually do a very good job of generating the back of cards, right? Giving you the answer to it because of all the things that we said before. It's very good at explaining context, it's very good at simplifying things, and it's very good at kind of giving you the essence of a particular problem. You can also use AI to check the back, to suggest clinical scenarios, to generate even practice vignettes, but the question on the front really should be coming from your brain because deciding what to test is itself a form of learning. And what you really want is to make sure that the cards are testing the things that you actually need to know. If I ask ChatGPT to make 20 cards for me, ChatGPT has no way to know what are the things that I know well and what are the things that I don't, and it's just going to choose 20 things at random. However, if I'm the one that's choosing the cards that I want to make, I can tailor it to the things that I don't know. So mistake number one is that AI skips the learning. Mistake number two is that AI gives away the answer. The third mistake, and honestly the most dangerous one, is that AI makes it so easy to create cards that students end up drowning in volume. And the crazy thing is, it feels like progress the entire time, all the way to the point where your score is going to be capped and you're going to feel helpless. Here's a classic scenario. You use AI to generate cards. It's super fast. It's super easy. You're cranking out 100 cards a day. You feel incredibly productive, but because you didn't go through the learning process to make those cards, they're shallow. They're also not targeted towards the things that you need to know, and you don't really understand them super deep. Now the reviews start piling up. 100 new cards a day means hundreds of reviews within a week. You're spending 3, maybe 4 hours just doing your reviews, and you have no time to actually study, no time to read, no time to understand, no time to do practice questions. So what do? You end up using AI to make cards even faster because you need to catch up, right? Because you don't have enough time. And then the cycle repeats because you're gonna have more cards, less understanding, more reviews, even less time, and then ultimately worse scores. That's how the volume death spiral happens. And the whole time it's happening, you'll feel like you're working harder than ever because frankly, you probably are. You're just working harder on the wrong things. You're drowning in cards that you don't understand, and every day you make more to try to stay afloat. I was coaching a student who was making over 100 cards a day. She actually came to me and said that for the last week and a half that her understanding wasn't quite as good as she wanted it to be, and she could tell from the cards itself. Now, this is someone who had started the program making excellent cards. She understood the concept, she could explain things super simply. Her scores were actually improving really quickly. She'd failed step 1 twice previously, and she had failed step 2 once. And so this was the first time that she'd ever seen herself get 80% on things that she was studying. So she was making massive progress. The issue is that she felt a lot of pressure then to go faster. She felt like she didn't have enough time to actually learn the things in depth. And so she started to make flashcards and everything. Not just the core concepts, but every detail in every year-old explanation. At that point, the volume exploded and her card quality collapsed. She went from cards where she could explain the pathophysiology to a 5-year-old to cards where she was just restating facts that she didn't really understand. And the crazy thing is that she could actually feel it happening. But the pressure of, I don't know enough, I need to know more, I need to go faster, kept driving her to make more cards faster. She described the feeling perfectly. I always have this internal feeling of I don't know enough, so I need to know more. And then I hit 3 or 4 questions I don't know, and it becomes a spiral of making flashcards and everything, because now it's triggered this belief in her that I don't know enough, that I'm not good enough, especially since, she'd failed previously 3 separate times. It was really easy for her to see a question that she got wrong as evidence that she needed to make more cards. The ironic thing is that the cards she was making at the beginning were excellent. She clearly understood the material, but when the pressure hit, she traded quality for quantity and her scores stopped improving immediately. Remember, the goal is not more cards. The goal is more understanding, and cards are just a tool to both enforce you understanding it and to make sure that you can reinforce the information and not forget it later. Now, here's the good news. When she went back to making quality cards, albeit fewer of them, but cards which she actually understood the concept, her scores started to improve again. Remember, the method was working. The volume trap just made her abandon it. The good rule of thumb to follow is you want to make about 50 quality cards per day. Not 100, not 200, 50. It doesn't exactly matter how much time you're spending doing the cards. The key is that when you set a timer, so maybe to make 50 cards, it might take you 2 or 3 hours. If you set that timer, and especially if you're setting it for smaller intervals, so like, let's say that you're doing a paragraph and you're gonna try to do that in 5 or 10 minutes. The timer forces you to actually cut the things that are unnecessary and to focus on really getting to the core concepts. And here's a specific rule that will save you from the death spiral. Only make cards from a primary study resource. Think something big picture. Like in medicine, it would be something like first aid or a relatively summary style textbook, whatever the main source is. You don't want to make cards on things that have really super detailed information. Things like UL explanations or random Amboss articles where you end up going down a rabbit hole. The reason for this is because answer explanations are designed to teach you about one specific question. They're going to contain lots of tangential information that's not necessarily high yield, but might be interesting. The issue is that if you make cards on all of that, your deck is going to explode with low value cards that bury the high value ones. And in fairness, this is true of whether you're using AI to make your cards or if you're just making them on your own. So those are the 3 mistakes. AI skips the learning, AI gives away the answer, and AI buries you in volume. Now, does this mean that you should never use AI for studying? No. Let me show you how to use it the right way. I don't want you to walk away from this video thinking AI is the enemy. AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used well or badly. The issue is that most students are using it badly, so I want to teach you how to use it well. One common theme that I want you to remember is when you're making your cards, try to match the card that you're making for the gap or the lack of skill that you're trying to address. For example, if you're struggling with understanding what a 50mm mercury gradient across the aortic valve means, actually write a question that forces you to analyze that specific situation. Similarly, if you have a problem with understanding the urinalysis findings, don't just ask ChatGPT to make cards on your analysis actually specifically makes scenarios where you have to interpret the labs, if that's the thing that you're struggling with. And then you can actually use ChatGPT if you want on the back to help you explain the labs themselves. The second way that you can use AI the right way is to make sure that you check your understanding after you've written the card. So first of all, make the card yourself, then write the back in your own words. Only then would I paste it into ChatGPT and ask, is this explanation accurate? What am I missing? How can I make this better? This way, you've already done the cognitive work yourself. AI is just a quality check. The third way to use AI to create better cards is to create compare and contrast scenarios. For example, you could say something like SIADH versus heart failure hyponatremia. Use the pathophysiology to explain how you can differentiate between the two based on their lab findings. Oftentimes what people struggle with on tests is that they have a hard time with things that have similar or overlapping features. If you are struggling with overlapping features in hyponatremia, then you should make cards that force you to differentiate between those two things. Now, before I wrap up, let me answer the 3 questions I know that you're already asking. The first question is, what if I've already made hundreds of AI cards? Do I need to start over? Now, the short answer is no. You don't need to trash your deck, but you do need to audit it. Personally, what I do in this situation is, as you're reviewing the cards themselves, look at the front and say, is this testing me on something that I am weak on or that I would become weak on if I were to, stop doing this card? Oftentimes the cards themselves are not actually serving a particular purpose. Like that student that was struggling with aortic stenosis. She knew everything about aortic stenosis, but where she was really struggling was understanding what a pressure gradient meant in the context of a valvular disease. If that's what you're struggling with, you shouldn't make more cards on aortic stenosis blindly, right? You have to make cards specifically for that specific thing that you are weak on. And so as you go through your cards, ask yourself, is this targeting the things that the reasons that I'm getting this question wrong? Another question that I get is, what about pre-made decks like Anki or other pre-made decks? Isn't this the same problem? Now, to be honest, I think that yes, in many ways, this is the exact same problem. If someone else made the cards, then you yourself are skipping the learning step. There are some exceptions. I do think that, for things that are just straight memorization like pharmacology, which again, pharmacology isn't straight memorization, but there's a lot more memorization than maybe some other topics. Things like microbiology, using a pre-made deck actually would make some sense. The issue is when you're talking about conceptual things, where you have to understand the idea and just being able to recite random words is not going to help. That's where pre-made decks, I think, can really hurt you. And so the times that I've seen, I think, people use pre-made decks effectively, it's usually for either A, memorization, or B, they're using it as sort of like the scaffolding on which they can put their learning. So they can say, okay, well, this is a fact that clearly I need to understand. I'm going to remake this card to make it better, because usually the pre-made decks are pretty just memorization heavy. The third question is, what if AI is the only way that I can keep up with the volume of material? Now, what I'll say to this is that it is a lot of information. If you're using ChatGPT or some other AI program to make a bunch of flashcards for you, I completely understand where you're coming from, because you probably have a lot of information that you feel like you need to cover and you don't have a ton of time to do it. And so the most common question that I get from people is, well, I'm spending all this time making cards, I'm spending all this time learning the material. Couldn't I just put all of that time that I was spending making cards into just learning the cards that are already being generated by ChatGPT or from a pre-made deck? Now, I get it. I totally understand. And I wish that that were true. The issue is that part of the reason why people end up having so little time when they're using pre-made decks or when they're using AI to generate particularly the fronts of cards is that you have to cover everything almost equally, because what ChatGPT or Anki won't be able to do is to tell you what are the things specifically that you're weak on. So to return to the aortic stenosis example, you have an issue where you might know everything there is about aortic stenosis, and adding more cards on that subject isn't going to help. Think of how much time is wasted by generating extra cards on that particular topic. It would be much better to find the 1 or 2 things that you're struggling on and make cards on that. And then you can avoid the dozens of cards that you might be making if you're relying on someone else to make the cards who doesn't understand, meaning ChatGPT or someone else that has made the cards for you, who doesn't understand what it is that you're actually weak on and therefore what it is that you need to reinforce. One of the biggest issues that I see is that people end up having a lot less time because they're spending so much extra time on things that maybe they don't need, and they're not spending enough time on the things that they do need cards on to reinforce. The learning illusion is real, and AI flashcards are the #1 thing creating it right now. The fix is not to stop using AI. The fix is to use it the right way. Remember, you're not bad at making flashcards. You just need the right approach. And if you want to master how to make flashcards that actually work, the kind that help me score in the top 0.1% on step 1 and never forget what I learned, check out my video on Anki tricks and settings, where I break down the 3 biggest mistakes students make and exactly how to overcome them, including the technique that lets me recall over 20,000 facts in about 30 minutes a day.